Okay, and then I'm going to share my lesson slides with you. Can you see my slides? Good. How many of you actually watched the e-learning video on this topic? Hands up if you did. Yeah, so you saw the male teacher teaching, right? Yes or no? Can you understand what he was actually teaching? Not really, Chloe. Are you sure?
Roughly.
Little bit. Okay. So, okay, don't worry. I'll try my best to tell you more. So basically for this topic, these are the things you need to know. So you look at each of them now. Explain how reflection is affected by smooth or rough surface. State the characteristics of the image formed by plane mirror. Plane mirror is the usual mirror that we look into. Okay, and I think there were research done, many researchers done about how many times a person look into a mirror in a day. Okay, so if you have noticed, right, usually girls will do that more often than guys. But of course, nowadays, there are guys doing that also very frequently. How many of you actually look into a mirror many times a day? You're doing. Notice my hand is up. Yeah, I look into the mirror many times a day. I admit. Okay, sometimes it's subconsciously you walk past, you also glance a little bit, or you walk past something that is some surface that's reflective. Yeah, I will also take a glance, whether my hair is messy, whether my clothes are, in the right position. So I do that often. Okay, maybe you have not reached that age but next time you might actually do that. Okay, next one. Describe the effects and uses of reflecting surfaces. Okay, of course, one of it is for me to look at myself, right? The other one, describe some effects and consequences of refraction. This is something that is very new for you in Sec 1, okay, but it's not difficult. It's pretty easy. You just need to know that refraction of light will take place when light is traveling from one type of medium to another type. Yeah, so I think you roughly can recall, right, what you have heard inside the video. Okay, describe dispersion of white light by a prism. That is fun. You should do that in school. I remember I did that as well when I was a child. And then when I was teaching the Sec 1, Sec 2, last time we only learned this in Sec 2. So I was teaching this to the Sec 2 students earlier as well. So after that, they had the change of syllabus, right? And then after that, they reshuffle, and then Sec 1 will be learning these topics. Okay, explain how we actually see the colors of objects in white light. So this is also quite interesting, something very new, okay? And then I will give you extra notes on this part. Compare the speed of light, sound, and common moving objects. Yeah, so this is also interesting, okay? Investigate the effects of reflection and refraction in practical activities. So these are the practical aspects. You'll be doing some form of experiment, okay, to investigate how light actually travels. Okay, and then of course the last part, show and appreciate the scientific attitudes, okay, in terms of measuring the speed of light to a high degree of accuracy. Yeah. So the most important part is, of course, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 points in the, or at the top, okay? The other 2 is more of activities you'll be doing in school. All right? So represent light. How do we represent light? We actually use straight lines to represent light rays, okay? Then, if we are talking about a beam of light, okay? A beam of light will be a stream of light rays. So we represent them by many straight lines. They are directed. Okay, light only travels in a straight line. Okay, it doesn't bend. It only do so when it travels through a different medium. What do I mean by that? You will understand a little bit more later on. So this is how you see a beam of light. They will be traveling in straight lines in parallel. Okay, always traveling in parallel. Now, how fast is actually light traveling? Okay, this is actually the speed. There are 8 zeros after the number 3. Extremely, extremely fast. Yeah, okay. So if you recall, every time you see flashes, right, of lightning before you hear the thunder, isn't it? How many of you will have the same reaction as me when there's a very bright flash? You will do this. Okay, I do that. Harvard seems to be very brave. Harvard say no, but I will because I don't like the thunder. Yeah, it scares me because I think I have undergone certain experience, right, where I was so close to this particular lightning. Okay, so that's why I am very afraid of, thunder sound. Okay, then how do we see light? Now, in a very dark place, none of us can see anything. If you can see something, it's not because you have good night vision, it's because there is some light that is present. Okay, in complete darkness, we don't see anything at all. Okay, it will be pitch black. So whenever you see something, it's because light has actually met a certain surface and then gets reflected into our eyes. That's why we see light. It always involves 2 rays. Okay, primary school, you don't learn the rays. You just know that you draw lines to show how light travels. Okay, but now you need to learn this. Okay, so you have the incident ray that is coming in. Okay, so it hits the surface and then gets reflected, and that reflected ray goes into our eyes. That's how we can see things. So I can say that this is actually the source of light, right? Source of light. So it emits light. That means it gives off light. All right. So when light is actually hitting a smooth surface and then it gets reflected, we call this a regular reflection. Okay, so the bold words here are important. Smooth surface, regular reflection. Okay, so in regular reflection, you will see that the incident parallel rays will all be reflected as parallel reflected rays. This one you have to know, okay? And then this is known as regular reflection. Important thing to note is the smooth surface. So this only happens for smooth surface. What happens if, let's say, light actually hits an irregular surface? That means the surface is rough. It's not smooth, okay? But then it goes jagged here and there. So what will happen? We call something as the diffuse reflection, when light hits this rough surface and gets reflected. Okay, diffuse. Just now was regular reflection. Okay, now this is called diffuse reflection. All right, I'll show you a better diagram later on after this. So rough surface, diffuse reflection. Take note, the law of reflection still actually holds here. Okay, every ray, okay, that comes in and hits the surface will get reflected off. But because they are all scattered in different direction, okay, the incident light or the incident ray, okay, becomes diffuse. All right, so the image is disrupted, or we can say no image is formed. Let me show you this better example. Okay, so the incident ray that comes in, it gets reflected, right? So it gets reflected this way. And then this second ray that comes in here hits the surface and gets reflected. Okay, and then you have the third one also, same thing happens. Okay, because the surface is irregular, that's why, okay, the reflected ray, right, are all pointing in different direction. Yes, Jude. Yes, please, you can.
May I go to the toilet?
Yes, you can. Yeah, I just saw your message in the chat. Yep. So if you all need to go, just go. Okay, just drop me a message saying that you're off to the washroom or something like that. Okay, just in case if I don't look at the screen, okay, facing me, okay, I didn't read your request in the chat, then you got to hold on very long. No, that's not very wise. Okay, just go. Okay. Okay, so regular and diffuse reflection in action. So when water is still and smooth, how many of you have gone to certain like reservoir, or water collection area? Okay, that's very calm. When it's so calm, you can see all the reflection of the trees, of the sky. Have you all seen that? Never? Okay, let me see. I remember there was this picture I saw about the reflection and okay. Let me just show you this one. The regular and diffused. Okay, this is a good one. So if I show you this particular one, so small. Maybe this is better. Just a minute. Okay. Let me just show you here. Okay. Hey, I have it here. Oh, I pasted already. So funny. Okay. This is a good example as well. Okay. So if you look at this one, Chloe, you said that you have never seen this before. It actually looks like this. Can you see? It's so nice. The reflection, you can see the mountain here. Then when the surface is not calm, because there are waves over here, so you don't get to see any reflection of the mountain. Okay, not here, not even here. Yeah, but when the surface is very calm, very smooth, we call it still and smooth, the reflection is regular. Okay, so the image that's formed on the water surface is very clear, very sharp. If the water is rough, okay, diffuse reflection occurs. So the image form is very blurred, or you don't see image at all. Yeah. Okay, so this is the meaning. So let's talk about plane mirror. We look at the mirror every day. We see ourselves in it. How is our image like? Okay, so when you look at the mirror, of course, you are still going to look upright, right? Okay, when you see yourself in the mirror, you look upright. You don't go upside down, isn't it? Okay, it's still the same size. You don't look smaller or look bigger. I know nowadays there are mirrors that actually make people look slimmer. Yeah, there are mirrors like that. Okay, and a lot of celebrities like to buy mirrors like this because they feel good looking at themselves in the mirror because they look slimmer in that sense. Okay. Next thing you need to know is laterally inverted. All right. So your left hand appears as right, and then your right hand will appear as left. Okay. It's the same distance behind the mirror as the object is in front. So that means if you are 50 cm from the mirror, your image is actually 50 cm from the mirror as well. It will be the same distance. Okay. The image form is virtual. Okay. So characteristics of image form on the mirror, always tested. So you need to know this. Yeah, always tested. Okay. Sometimes they ask you to list down a few, maybe just 3. Sometimes they give you a few, then they ask you to fill in the missing ones. So it's best for you to